That was adorably peaceful music and not at all who I am as a person. This is hilarious. Okay, so people are going to pop in whenever they pop in, and that's cool. Nobody will be invited into like the main video screen unless I'm workshopping their thing, just to make it more accessible. I do know that the entire internet for 2 days has been really rude to people accessing things on their phone. And I am not sure what that has to do with, like what background platform that owns 3/4 of everything on the internet is malfunctioning, but it definitely is. And it's not isolated to this event. So I am aware this is being recorded and will be sent out to folks. And I also want to offer anyone who's watching the replay, if you weren't able to make it because of a glitch or just because your time isn't the same time zone as my time, I would love to support you in interpreting your cards that you do from this workshop. My only caveat is you have to interpret them first before I do it for you, because you have an intuition and a brain and all the things, and it will work for you, I promise. I do notice that some folks are having problems connecting because the internet is a wonderful place. Just like on a Zoom call, I'm just going to ask that you remain muted unless you have a conversation piece. If you want to pop a question into the chat while I'm in the middle of talking, that would be really helpful. Otherwise, I'll get in like neurodivergent squirrel land and completely forget where I am. And I really want to honor people's time. I have allotted 2 hours for this workshop, but by all means, I'm not going to milk it if it's not there. That's just to allow space for everyone to have a time to ask questions. And if you have been reading tarot or oracle cards or any other kind of divination, if you have insights into other people's readings as well, it's a workshop. We're here to work together. So you can absolutely pop your insights and thoughts into the chat, or just request to be on camera and the floor will be yours when appropriate. If you don't have a drink or whatever makes you the most comfy, go ahead and do that. If you need to leave at any time to like go to the bathroom or something, feel free. I'm not going to be offended if you step away. Like, this is 2 hours and maybe you have to pee or something. If you want to eat, do whatever makes you happy. I will say that I'm probably going to swear because of who I am as a person. So if you have littles and that's a thing for them, maybe get some headphones and it will make you super happy. So there's a few people that will come in the next 5 minutes. So I'm going to tell a little bit about who I am and why I offered a tarot course / workshop. And partially it was just because I felt like it, to be honest. Like, I woke up a couple days ago and was like, oh, nobody purchased a Year at the Glance tarot reading this year because people are strapped for cash, whatever reason. I don't know about you, but like my entire winter so far has been a blur. And so instead of having $111 tarot reading, I was like, what if I just charged a very accessible price and had folks come on with their own cards if they have them and explore some of my 3 favorite spreads that I've created for Year at a Glance or situation, more in-depth readings, and or help you to build your own. One of the things that I've noticed with tarot for beginners is that people are afraid to do it wrong. They like spiritualize the placement of cards and stuff. And I am an intuitive reader. So I learned from someone who taught me the history of tarot. I took like a course. It was over the space of 2 months. And I devoted study to it. And I spent an entire month with, this deck, my Light Seers Tarot deck. and I wasn't allowed the guidebook. So she taught me the major principles, the major and minor arcana, the basic symbolism. And then I had a tarot journal, and every single day I had to pull 2 or 3 cards and write down every single thing I observed about them and what came to mind and what I noticed and all the things and how I felt and like what images came into my mind and all of those. And I got to know my deck really, really, really well. At the end of the course, and this was in 2019, 2020, at the end of the course, I was given my guidebook that my wife had hidden. And I was shocked and very affirmed to find that what I had intuited and what I had in my mind from my own memory and just from the cognitive, I'm what you would call claircognizant. I just know things and I can't explain why I know them. They just pop into my head. I was accurate to the point of sometimes using the exact same phrases or words that were in the book that I had never read when I had started barely knowing anything about tarot, but I have been intuitive my whole life. I've been, wouldn't it be funny if this happened? Or I bet blah, blah, blah. Or like, I remember the coolest example of this was when I was about 17. My grandmother had passed away. That's not cool. But the cool part was that I was like, hey, Mom, wouldn't it be cool if we got a big fat check in the mail today? And then I remember we went to the mailbox and there was a big fat check in the mail. And it was like, there's no reason it should have happened. It was 2004. It's not like people sent money to people in the middle of nowhere. So yeah, that was absolutely hilarious and wonderful. So I've heard a few people pop in. Welcome. If you're able to, say hello in the chat, where you're tuning in from, how you got here. If folks are having a hard time connecting, I will send a replay. So if any of your friends were having issues with registration or payment or whatever, don't worry about paying me. I'm just going to let Mercury retrograde have this one. If you haven't sent payment, don't worry about it. The internet ate things. It's really, really funny. Hi, everyone. Tuning in from Prince Albert, Saskatchewan. Oh, that's where you are at these days. All right. So what kind of decks do we have in the house? Feel free to turn on your video if you feel like it or leave it off. It's totally up to you. It doesn't bother me. We're going to stay muted unless we have questions. Half Moon Bay. Oh, so you're, Charity, you're like across the water from me, basically. I'm in Nanaimo, so hi. You're just like slightly over there. North Vancouver. Okay, so I am going to introduce you to some of my decks. I have a lot, but I'm not going to show you all of them. I just want to show like the diversity and the beautiful artistry that is out there right now. And then we'll dive into some spreads. If you have paper or a pen, that's cool. If not, I'm going to send with the email of the replay, I'm going to send like images and PDFs of the spreads that I drew out by hand, super rustic. I have one Oracle deck, The Divine Feminine by Megan Watterson. Cool. So the way that I read intuitively, it applies to Oracle decks and to tarot cards. Tarot, I find, is like very concise and very direct. You can get a lot more detailed A plus B equals C information from tarot cards than you can from Oracle cards. And Oracle cards, I find, tend to do a lot more with like bigger thoughts, big picture feelings, emotions, events, encouragement, connections, those kinds of things. So in another way of looking at it is that like certain styles of tarot, we're getting more feminine as more artists are making decks, but historically it's like that would be more masculine, more strategic, more orderly. And then for lack of a better word, it would be more feminine. I'm a non-binary person. I use they, them pronouns. The way that folks understand spirituality and new agey stuff is the masculine, feminine. I would encourage you to learn to reframe it in things like structured versus freeform, solid versus soft, analytical versus creative, you know, those kinds of things. Nurturing versus whatever the opposite of that is. I don't know. Okay, so I have this here book that I highly recommend. It's called the Element Encyclopedia of Secret Signs and Symbols. It's only $20 Canadian at Chapters, which is a friggin' steal. And it's an incredible book. It has really helped me in my own like tarot journaling processes. It has like images, plants. It's got stuff from like all over metaphysics and folklore. And it has like, it even has like symbols from religions and stuff. And it really, really helps break down some of the things that are hidden in the cards. So the three decks that I have for tarot today are the Light Seers Tarot, which is the main one I'm going to focus on. I've also got, it's called the Meraki Tarot by Bouchette Designs. And it's a non-gendered, very watercolory, very artistic tarot deck structured after Rider-Waite-Smith, but much more, it's more intermediate. So this is not a deck I would recommend for like a novice reader, for someone who's just beginning, because there's a lot of intuitive reading that would go into a deck like this. I almost always recommend starting with like a much more structured, traditional deck if you're moving right into tarot. And then if we're going to keep going along the obscure modern path, I have here, let me get the book so you can see it. The Sacred Web Tarot. And it comes with a giant guidebook, which I love because it's a lot more accessible. And then there's tons of like resources in the back for spreads. But this deck, instead of cups and pentacles and wands, it's got earth, air, fire, and water. So let me just find a really good one. Okay, so this would be the Two of Water, for example. And it's a water lily with a peacock, right? And then the Student of Water instead of the Page, because there's no, like it's completely non-gendered, but it's a minimalist deck, right? So again, this would be more like an advanced deck. But what if I want it because I love the art, Cheryl? Get it. Absolutely get it. There's tons of resources to help you read. The one deck that I showed you came with all of these cheat sheet cards, so you can have them out. And there's no shade in making a spread, writing what you think maybe it's saying, and then going to like Google. Like nobody's judging. We all learn somewhere, right? Or go to the library if you live in an area that has like a really good metaphysical section. And there's tons of books there that you can learn from. So what I want to start with is, if you haven't shuffled your deck, please shuffle your deck. Well, I'll just do mine at the same time. I'm going to start with the quadrant spread. You will be, I hope you have like enough space to do this. If not, your lap is going to get very full, but that is okay. I can see Kate. Okay, so if I'm not adding you to the video, I don't know what y'all can see, but I can see everyone on the side, but I don't know if y'all can see everyone who's gray. So when your video appears gray, it's because nobody else can see you where it's streaming. So like on Facebook land and stuff, nobody can see your face, but in the call, I'm pretty sure people can. This is only my second time using this platform, so it's pretty fun. Okay. So I'm going to get up so you can see. This is the quadrant reading. I'm just going to pop the chat down for now. Okay. So this is my quadrant reading. You can see my super excellent teacher penmanship. This is very technical diagram, my friends. So you want to draw, or either mentally, emotionally, or literally, I don't know. If you need a guide, this would be your guide, where you have spring, summer, fall, winter, whatever that means to you. I mean, if you're in the north, maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe you want to do like 3 months at a time, because your winter reading is going to need 25 cards instead of 4, because that's how long you're in winter for. Reasons I moved to Vancouver Island. You're welcome. Okay. So these sections here is kind of what you want to know for your year. So I just went in and wrote some things, but you don't have to do it this way. So like the spring one, for example, I wrote you, and then I have like a little heart, which is like relationships and personal life. And then like a little weights for like work, work. So you could pull a card for this one. It's like where you're at right now going into spring, and like where you're at in your career right now. Maybe that's what you want to know, maybe not. So you get to decide what these 2 cards would be. And then you would pull 4 cards. And here's where it gets fun. And if I'm going too fast, please let me know. I talk really fast. It's fine. So here's where it gets fun. I didn't put the meanings of the cards onto the numbers, because with intuitive reading, there's a couple of different ways you could do it. If you're just starting out and you don't fully trust your intuition yet, you can give each placement a meaning. So you can give like a question to each placement. If you've been here a while, if you're not brand new to reading cards, or if you're reading oracle cards that are a little bit more vague, then you might want to read it like a story. So you decide which way the story goes, and you read them as a whole to tell you the picture of that section on the thing. So I'm going to just do an example. So I'm going to pull cards for spring, and then I'll walk you through it. Okay. Ooh, yeah. No, I like that. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. I'll show you in a second. It's just making me laugh because right now I'm in the middle of like a massive launch. Personally, I'm growing a lot. I'm sort of in the middle of like a friend shift. Sometimes when you get to your late 20s, early and mid 30s, you outgrow your friends who are not on the same path as you, and it stinks like a butthole. And that's where I'm at. Okay. So for the first card for you, I got the King of Cups. And I know a lot about the King of Cups. He and I are good friends. So the King of Cups, regardless of gender, the King of Cups has to do, like, if you're going to look at this card and witness this card, and maybe if you have a tarot deck with you, you could find the King of Cups right now and compare it if you want to. You don't have to. But you can see his hand is in the bowl, and he's sitting on top of the water in the ocean. You know that because the fish is under him, but his feet are above the water. So he's got his hand in the cup, and cups symbolize emotions, dreams, relationships, hopes, fears, those kinds of things. So he is centered, aligned, calm. There's not a real cloud in sight. It's literally smooth sailing. There's a sailing ship in the background, sailboat. That's what the word for that is. And he's even got like mala beads on his wrist, which suggests to me that he has a spiritual practice that keeps him grounded. On his chest, the pendant he's wearing is a fish, which further cements cups being water. And we're in Cancer right now, which is watery and moody and feely and spicy. So this makes perfect sense to represent me right now. I'm deep in my emotions. They are not overwhelming me, but I'm present and feeling them, and I'm in touch with them. And that fully represents where I'm at right now. So I'm not surprised by this card. So for spring, that would be in the top quadrant. The second card, which would be work, I got the reverse 10 of Cups. So it's up to you. You decide as the tarot reader or the oracle reader if you read reverses or not. What? Just because a card is reversed doesn't mean it's bad news. And it doesn't mean that it's the opposite. It means the meaning that you imbue on it. So when you have a guidebook, it tells you what the artist intended with the picture, but that doesn't mean that it's the be all and end all. It's a good place to start, but your internal compass knows best. I'm just going to make sure that I'm checking the chat. Okay, I don't see anyone else but you and me. Okay, good to know. All right. I can see like Kate's face. I'm just like, hi, Kate. I miss you. For anyone who doesn't know, Kate has known every iteration of me on my spiritual journey. And even though a lot has changed, not much has changed. Like, I'm still me. I still say the same shit. I just use different tools to do it. The number 1 was just like you, like personally, like either emotions, relationships, whatever you want to name it is totally fine. I just like to start with me at the beginning of the year. That's a really good question, Joey. Okay, so the 10 of Cups in reversed in the context of career could mean feeling insecure about the future of my career, which is probably 112% accurate because I'm in the middle of a program launch right now. And I just have to have faith and trust and let it go. But the 10 of Cups, when it's up, is like celebration, family, finding the people who you belong with. So in the context of career, this card, upright or reversed, could mean just like it's going to be okay. So like if it's like this, it's like I'm worried about it being okay, right? Because it's me and my career and the feeling of okayness. The light is being fun. So now, if you'll remember, spring is 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So you decide if you're giving any extra meaning to the placement. I'm just going to read it like a storyboard all together for the sake of, oh no, the room is full and a guest is trying to join. RIP. Sorry, friends. I can only host like 6 or 10 people at a time. They're going to get the replay. So sorry, but I will help you out after the fact. Okay, so my storyboard goes like this. The 3 of Pentacles. The 8 of Wands. Oh, I'll go this way so it makes more sense. The 7 of Swords. I don't know if my hands are big enough, but we're going to give it a try, shall we? The 7 of Swords, and then the King of Pentacles reversed. Okay, so what it's showing me, just at first glance, is that, here we go. I'm going to have a lot of work. I'm going to have some conflict where I'm going to have to cut some things out of my life. And then I'm going to be slightly uncomfortable, but secure. And the reason I think this is because the 3 of Pentacles is usually associated with teamwork, making the dream work, or reconciling your inner child, your young adult, and your adult self. It's like the 3 statuses of human. You might also reflect to like the Mother, Maiden, and Crone if you're on like the Wiccan pagan path, something like that. So that's like the integration of self, the full picture, blah, blah, blah. The 8 of Wands is usually about tons of creative ideas, opportunities, and or too many cooks in the kitchen. So I need to focus during this spring. Okay. And then the 7 of Swords. Swords has to do with like knowledge, boundaries, conflict, shadow work, those kinds of things. That's exactly what I'm going through in the spring. I already know that. None of this is news to me. I'm actually really happy that my cards are being kind to me right now while I'm reading for myself publicly, because that could be awkward. And then the King of Pentacles in reverse. So this card is one of my favorite cards in the Light Seer Tarot deck because look at him. He's all like made it to the end. He's in his cozies. He's wearing sneakers. He's got his wolf, which represents protection, wisdom, community, etc. But look at his library. library. Do you know how much money you have to have a library like that? He is set. He's secure. He's not worried about a thing. So I feel a theme coming on that I'm going to be facing some anxious anxiety related to my career during this spring, which is fine. Whenever we try something new, it's a little weird, right? Okay, so that is one example of how to do a quadrant. These, I just put in ideas that you could put if you wanted to. So sometimes you would put a do or don't do, or focus and let go. For winter, I put let go simply because winter is like the end of the like geographic year, not just the time. So like when winter starts, like when the winter solstice happens, everything kind of fake dies, or literally dies if you're my banana plant in the corner over here. And then it like is reborn after a season of rest. So this is typically when we would let go of things and hibernate in a way. And then for fall, I put like focus or an obstacle. But you don't have to do that. Like you can decide based on what you would like to know what your reading would be. So I'm going to go through the next two options and then I'll review them again. And then what I want you to do is to choose the one that you feel called to, and then I'll help you go through your spreads. Okay. For any of the quadrants, they represent anything we want, right? Like example. Yeah, exactly. So you could have love or travel or friendship. You could make each number mean something different. It's all about the intention. The reason I love writing out the spread first is because then, maybe it's just me because I'm a Leo, I can't change my mind halfway through when I don't like the information that I got. There's nothing like you're like, excuse me, cards, rude. And then you like reshuffle and then they tell you the exact same thing again, but with different cards. And you're like, okay, fine. The story of my life. This is one of my favorite cards to do, regardless of whether or not it's, or card spreads to do, regardless of whether or not it's for the year or for like a big decision. It's the clock spread. Different practitioners do it different ways. I've seen it with as many as 26 or 28 cards. When there's only like so many cards in the deck, that's a little overwhelming. So this is my version. I'm just going to drop this chat so I can see what I'm looking at. This is my version of the clock spread, okay? So the three cards in the middle would be the theme. This card would be like either your intention or something you need to be aware of, like your own bias or something in relationship to the reading. And then you can put, I usually just put 12 because then if it's a year reading, you could do each month, but you could put as little or as many cards as you have room for. This one is a really good one to pull an oracle and a tarot card for each spot. I find I use the oracle cards for like the theme and then the tarot card to kind of like deeper, like a more deep interpretation of the theme. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my three cards in the middle, my intention card, and then the first two on the spread so that you can have an idea of what I mean. I love the clock spread. I usually use it when a client comes to me and they're like, I like a general reading, but I don't know what to ask. And I'm like, okay. So I'll come to the cards here, and sometimes I'll say it, and sometimes, oh, spam chats. That's super special. Block. Thank you. It's because I'm like posting on. Gross. Why? Sorry about that. Rip. I love YouTube bots posting porn accounts, don't you? Isn't it like your favorite thing? Okay. Anyway, so I lost my train of thought, and that's fine. I have 80 fire truck, whatever. So I'm going to pull, thank you for everyone laughing. That really brings me joy. I'm going to pull Oracle card for my intention. So like, oh yeah, okay, right. So when people know what they want, so like I'll be like shuffling the card. Sometimes I'll say out, and sometimes I'll just say early. Depends if I'm in public. People are weird about stuff like that, and I'll just be like, what does, okay, so I'll do it for myself. So what do I need to know the most? Like, that's what I'll ask a general reading. Because if you just ask, what do I need to know? The universe is hilarious and will tell you stuff you don't need to know until 10 years from now. And then you'll have a panic attack because the death card came up next to the tower, next to like some other cards. And you think that like everyone you love is going to die. And really, it's just telling you the end of something is happening and the beginning of something else is happening. And it's going to be really dramatic. But you're having a panic attack because it's like, you need to know about death. And then you're like freaked out. So let's not have that happen and be as specific as possible while we ask questions. Okay. So what do I need to know for this year? And then I'll pull an oracle card. Ooh. The first card I pulled was Bentonite, which represents clarity, prosperity, and calm energies, which, as we saw in the first part of the last spread that I did, I'm going to be a little anxious for the first 4 months. So I need to bear in mind that everything's going to be okay. Victory, success, and harmony are things that are going to be mine. This card is really cool because it says, I'm open to the universe when I am clear in my intentions. Can we just like laugh at how synchronistic this is? Okay. And then I would pull a tarot card to go with it, which is the Three of Swords in reverse. So when the Three of Swords comes up like this, it's pretty sad. You're in anguish and grief because of things that are out of your control. Someone did you wrong and they broke your heart. When it's like this, you're maybe holding on to some resentment because someone broke your heart one time and you just need to let it go. So that's part of my theme of clarity and being calm and prosperity. It's related to relationships, which I'm losing a best friend right now. So that makes sense. Okay. And then we'll do the first two. So I'll pull two more. Ooh, that's fun. I'm wearing that ring right now. Okay. So in this case, it would be January and February. So January, I got Solidite, which is harmony, love, balance, and truth. My intuition guides me into balance and awareness. And it is related to Sagittarius, which is really funny because one of my brand new to me friends is a Sag. So that's probably about her. And Temperance, which is balance. Again, there's that balance theme coming out. Not too much light, not too much dark. Temperance sometimes comes up. And as a major arcana, it's a big theme. Like it's a lasting theme. When it's a minor arcana, it's like going to the dentist or someone's birthday, like normal, mundane human things. When it's a major arcana, it's usually like a life lesson or a spiritual moment or like something that is permanent and lasting. So when Temperance comes up on its own like this, I might pull another card and be like, what is it that I need to watch for? Right? So like you can always pull extra cards if something is unclear. And then for February, I got Moldavite, which is fun because I got this ring, which is also made out of the same stone. And it has to do with consciousness, embodiment, and elegance, which I love. So the affirmation on this card is my consciousness expands when I am aware and present. And it came with the Hanged Man, which is also green, which is really like, you can't make this stuff up. I shuffled all these cards in front of you. It's really fun. So the Hanged Man, and the reason I love this version of it, she's swirling over the pool of like divine knowledge. It's covered in like alchemical symbols and stuff. So it's like alchemy. So it's like the pool of knowledge and wisdom. You can see her inner light shining out. She's suspended above it with a silk, and she's the only reason she's up there. So she's stuck because of something she won't let go of, which is really interesting when it comes alongside the theme of embodiment. So that looks to me like in February, I'm going to be resistant against something because I'm not letting go. And if you remember my spring reading in the other spread, that was like, I have to cut some things out of my life before I can get to the comfortable place. So it's really interesting to see how these different spreads play with each other. So that is the clock spread. For my theme in here, normally what I will do is like, what's going on right now? What's a potential blockage that I'm going to have to move forward? And what is the outcome if I can overcome the blockage? Question. How did you know which month? Okay, just like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 would be January, February, March, April, May, June, July. You could write the names instead. You don't have to write the numbers. I just write the numbers for like when I'm counting cards because I'm bad at math. It's fine. And then the last one that I love specifically for Oracle decks, all of my Oracle peeps, is a spread like this. Now you can name the quadrants any way you'd like. I have them personal, professional, and spiritual or emotional. And then I would suggest pulling 3 to 5 cards for each section. Okay. So the reason I like 3 or 5 is because you can give each card an intention as you pull it. So I could say for personals, like, is this friends, families, hobbies? Like, what do you want to know more about? What do you want to focus on? What do you need some encouragement in your personal life? And then like write that word down on the paper and then pull a card and put it over the top of it. And go through the whole thing and do that, and then read each one with that intention. And like, if you are a journaler, this is really, really where it gets fun because you can start to ask questions about the card and you can ask questions about the images on the card. So the Meraki tarot cards look a little bit like Oracle cards. So I'm going to grab the 2 of Swords. It says the 2 of Swords, but it doesn't look like a sword. It's an iceberg. And we all have probably heard the analogy of an iceberg where there's like way more below than there is above. And so this card, that would be one of the first things that I would notice. So if I pull this for the personal quadrant or whatever I made that one section be, say that one was about friends. Wow, I'm just reading myself right now. So there's like a lot going on below the surface of this relationship in my life with my friend that I don't see. So I can see a lot, but there's a lot that I don't see. And so then I might ask one of the next 2 or 3 cards, what am I not seeing? Or what do I need to know? And then you could be even more specific and you could say, what am I not seeing about myself in this situation? What am I not seeing about the other person in this situation? Those kinds of questions. But like the reason I love Oracle cards is they tell you what you need to know versus just the details, just the facts. So one is like a map, right? So like the Oracle cards are like a map with a legend, and then the tarot cards is like the manual for your dishwasher. Like it's like very, very thorough and it can only mean what it can only mean. Whereas like an Oracle card, it speaks to your heart and your consciousness on a different level. Let me just grab. I have all my other decks like right beside me. So something that I do is once I'm like no longer feeling called to a deck, and people might hate me for this, and that's okay. I like named a course with the word fuck in it, so I'm like totally fine being hated. I start to give them away like one card at a time to people, just like in the street, like I'm a weirdo. It's fine. Sometimes I'll gift the whole deck if I have one and I got it because of the art, and then it comes to me and I'm like, yeah, this was for someone else. And then I just like wait for the person to be in my life and I'll give it to them. And then other times, this was my first ever deck because I felt like it's the Universe Has Your Back by Gabby Bernstein. And I felt like this is pretty safe. Coming out of religious indoctrination and trauma where like using metaphysical tools means you're going to burn in hell forever. Hi, I married a woman. It's a done deal. So it's just whatever. Anyway, that's just my humor. So I felt safe using this because I was like, how is this any different than like affirmations or whatever? And it was a way for me to get back in touch with that part of myself that I had been taught to mistrust. I had always been taught to go outside of myself for validation and affirmation and all of those things. And then cards privately helped me to learn to trust myself again and to learn to listen to the deep knowing that I have, and learn the difference between anxiety knowing when you think you know, but really you're just terrified, and like knowing. I learned that my intuition doesn't make me afraid. It's very clear. It's very precise. It's very honest, even when I don't want to hear what it's telling me. Whereas my ego and my anxiety and my fear is always like, what if? What if they laugh at you? What if this doesn't work out? What if? It's always catastrophizing or romanticizing. Whereas my intuition is very like, does this make sense? Is this making sense? I think the same with my spiritual trauma as well, as starting with the Moon Oracle deck Joey gave me. The Moon Oracle deck, I've heard really good things about it. I haven't purchased it because I've put a literal limit of 4 decks per year. I'm not allowed to buy any more than that. And I get a lot of my stuff on Kickstarter to support artists and stuff. So I am hunting for one of those, and I will probably get one of them. But I wanted to grab, so for like, I'm just going to read myself. I'm just going to pull one for each of these, and then I'd love to open it up for questions because we've been chatting for about 40 minutes now, and I just really want to honor your time. So I'm going to pull one for personal. Okay. Professional and spiritual/emotional. Okay, so this is really funny. Please laugh at me and with me while I read them. So my personal card is I surrender to a power that is greater than me. Okay. That's hilarious because there's so much going on right now that's beyond my control. And I don't like that. So that's a really funny card to get personally. And on a much more cool note, this is where the intuitive piece comes in. Butterflies, specifically in my life, represent my grandmother. She was obsessed with them. And she died when I was 18. She was the only person in my family, my biological family, that I ever felt loved me or understood me or cared about me in any way. And I have never felt more connected to her than I do now, where I live following this path. She 100% was one of those secret, sneaky witches that did herbalism, that had a massive garden, that made medicines, that all of those kinds of things. And butterflies, she had butterfly everything. You know, people born in the 30s and raised in the 30s and 40s, they collected like so many baubles. And I would love to know the psychology behind that. Like there's a specific group of senior citizens that have the one thing that they like, and they have it in every single version that thing comes in. And she was like that with butterflies. So I have her stained glass, sterling silver, soldered, handmade butterfly nightlight. And so when this comes to me and it's like, I surrender to a power greater than me, it's making me think of her and channeling her and like listening to the wisdom that she instilled in me and the things that she taught me, like making a good home and taking care of my family and like being kind to other people and being generous and all of those kinds of things. So that would be personal, which I wrote down as family, friends, and hobbies, and where I spend my fun money. The second one I got, I have a love-hate relationship with this card. It's for professional, which is career, education, and income. And it says, I honor how I want to feel. The want is really important in this specific oracle card because we, as people who are born and raised as women, are taught how we should behave, not how we want to express ourselves. So when it says, I honor how I want to feel, it's asking me not to police my emotions and my experience while I am doing the professional development and up-leveling and stuff. And what's even funnier about that is I'm getting certified in like emotional freedom technique and Kundalini and energetic stuff in a 6-month certification program. So I'm going to be feeling a lot of things and I need to just let them happen. And then the last card for the spiritual and emotional one says, in every moment, the universe is conspiring to bring me toward right-minded thinking and the energy of love. I love you, Joey. I feel like we would get along. Boo, the patriarchy. Boo. I adore that. That's so great. You're a great human. Okay. So every moment, the universe is conspiring. That's an interesting word. It means that whatever you think, universe, source, God, angels, ancestors, whatever, however you understand the metaphysical, it's conspiring. That's like planning. That's not just being like, oh yeah, everybody gets light and butterflies. This is like, it's cool to think about it that way. That's like an interesting word to choose. And then towards right-minded thinking, acknowledges that my emotional self is a trauma survivor. And some of my thinking is definitely not in my right mind. So I'm very excited and it's cool to see that. So I'm going to see, I think I can just like invite people into the chat, into the call. It says I have 5 out of 6. Oh, maybe I'm one of the 6. So I'm going to allow you to pop in and then you can choose whether or not your microphone is on. Everybody. Cool. This is super awkward. Okay. So what I'll do is I will mute my microphone and allow y'all to build your spreads. And then if you have a question, you can pop on and ask it or ask it in the chat if you feel awkward about talking on video to complete strangers. We fully empower that kind of agency here. Does anyone want me to review the layouts? Or do you want to create your own intuitively and just write down a question and then see what comes up? I'd love to help however I can.
So do you always recommend writing down?
When you're starting, I do. If you've been, because it helps you not have to hold the intention in your mind. If you have a good memory, go for it. If you forget what you wanted to eat for breakfast by the time you get to the kitchen, I recommend writing it down.
And another beginner question, is there a right or wrong way or better way to shuffle cards?
It depends on how long you want your cards to last. I used to be really precious about it, and now it all depends on the card stock. So like these cards are pretty they're pretty thick, so they're fine. When you pay less money for a deck, it might scratch the surface of the cards or crease them or whatever. Some people will be like, you should store them in this way with a crystal on top and always cleanse your deck. And it's like, it really depends on where you're from. I am from conservative Christian background where a book with ink on it that is mass produced was a venerated object. So the way that I look at these is they're literally paper with ink on them, but other people might not hold that view. So you create the meaning in the object, which is really interesting. And it makes sense if you think about the seers and the mystics who use bones or use runes or use stones or read tea leaves. Like, is there a right way to swirl my cup to read tea leaves? You know, like it's
Okay.
yes. If you think it's wrong, it's wrong.
Okay.
But be open to exploring edges in your practice.
And you just always pull from the top?
Sometimes I'm like, oh no, I need to, like, I just feel like I need to pull a card from the bottom, and then I will. If you're a beginner, and you're using a tarot deck and you feel stuck on anything ever, my favorite task that someone taught me who's been reading tarot for 30 years was like, shuffle your deck, whatever, and then find either the Death card or the Fool card, depending if it's about just you or a relationship. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then she said to take the top card and the bottom card. And the top card is like one thing and the bottom card is another. And it depends on the context of the question that you ask. But it's like always like, what do I need to let go of? What do I need to pursue? What is my shit to own? What is not? You know, like you can ask like a very clear question and get a very clear answer. And then sometimes I'll pull a card and I'll be like, what does this have to do with the question that I asked? And I won't know. So I'll put that card up at the top and then I'll just start pulling cards and looking up what they mean or intuiting what they mean. And I just keep pulling until I'm satisfied with the answer. And sometimes it doesn't get clearer. And then I'm like, oh, I don't get to know. Okay, thanks.
Yeah. I just have a few questions, Cheryl.
Sure.
So I've only done I did a reading for a friend once, like just after kind of reading the deck, you know, the guidebook and whatever. But now like this is my first time like actually doing this, and so I'm gonna like, you know, pull from the top after I'm done shuffling. But I'm just wondering about the lay order. Like, do I have to lay in a certain order? It's just however it happens is how it happens on the.
Yeah, actually, however it happens is how it happens. There are some people that only read, like when they're shuffling, they only read the cards that pop out.
Oh, interesting.
So they shuffle with loose hands and they only read the cards that pop out. There are other people who don't let anyone touch their deck ever.
Oh, it's all about, I guess, intention and like
it really
that's what I kind of thought, and I kind of like that because it kind of gives you insight and you can kind of make a meaning of it if you want. And so I guess I'll just kind of go for it. I was wondering if you could give me ideas of like, so I'm going to do the spring, summer, fall, winter one. Like I feel very like unsure of my life right now, so I think that would be kind of helpful. But I just wanted some suggestions for what you might say to put in position 3 and quadrant 3 and 4. So just because I'm a beginner, I wouldn't mind some ideas, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So for the spring, what are you putting in there? Are you just doing like what I had said about already? Or do you...
That's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah, I was kind of keeping it simple so I can kind of learn, and then I can always like when I do it again, I can always differentiate some different things.
Okay. Are you aware of any energetic or creative or whatever relational patterns that seem to crop up for you around like Thanksgiving, those kinds of things that might give you
like holidays and stuff?
Yeah. So like, because in our culture, in Western culture, so much of our seasons center around celebrations, food, family, and stuff, that everyone starts to celebrate things in about October. So January, February, March is like really introspective, real goal setting. People are starting to like come out of the dark winter blahs. So that's why I put that in spring, because like in like nature, seeds and growth and stuff. Summer is usually when we're like, oh, what time is it? Everything is nice. Look at my skin. Who wants to go swimming instead of eating vegetables? Like, so that's usually like, do play, whatever. Don't overindulge and get alcohol poisoning and end up in the hospital. So like that's why I like to do more of this and do less of this in the summer.
Yeah.
For fall is usually when I start to get bigger pants because I have less control about what I put in my mouth, which is why I like to have like an obstacle or a folk in there. But sometimes it's what do I need to pay more attention to is a good question to focus on for autumn, because there's a lot of distractions. Like they start putting Christmas decorations in the store in friggin' August. There's a lot of distractions. And then for winter, it's usually either what do I need to let go of or what do I need to keep close is a really good one. Like what relationships need nurturing during this time? What are some things, like it's a good reflection section.
Yeah.
That rhymed.
So you're saying that like to take those kinds of ideas and then I can attribute them to any of those quadrants. So like what would be an example for summer, for example? I think I can like do it where I can kind of create like a category intention for those, but I kind of just wanted an example of.
So like for this summer, if I were to read for myself right now, this summer is wow. Okay. It's going to be my second wedding anniversary. What is time? I'm turning 37. My goal, I will just have finished getting certified. So like I will be launching the next step of my career, like the next iteration of myself. So for summer, I would probably be like, I would even give each number an intention. So number 1 would be like, how can I play? Number 2 would be like, what do I need to focus my energy on? Yeah. Number 3 would be like, how can I rest after 6 months of very intenseness? And number 4 would be like, what do I have to look forward to? And then in the little secondary section, I don't know, like you don't necessarily have to pull 6 cards for each one. It's just, I like to have as much information as possible when I'm doing a big reading.
Okay. That makes sense. I guess I'll just try to think about it and just try to like, whatever happens and not try to control it too much and just see what happens here. Just gonna think about some categories now, I guess.
No, it's kind of super fun. The other thing that I've done is sometimes people have sent me, hey Cheryl, do you have time for a reading? And I'd be like, yeah. What do you need help on? Or what do you need clarity on? Or how can I support you? And then they will usually say something like, well, I need some more information about my family. I need some more information about which job opportunity to take. And I always give them information about how they can take better care of themselves because we're all human beings and we forget ourselves. Yeah, totally. Right? So absolutely. What deck do you have? Oh yeah, the moon one. Yeah, so with oracle cards.
Yeah, and it's actually from British Columbia. Like Sweet. I didn't realize until I was reading it today.
Do the moonology cards have other symbols on them, or is it just like lunar phases or
yeah, I don't know. So I don't know much. Like yes, there's like this one's got Capricorn.
Okay, cool.
Cancer. I don't know anything about those kinds of things, and
no, that's cool. So
most of it. Oh, there's like one that has like a south node. Like it's basically like a lot of just astrology type stuff.
You lay out your stuff, and I intentionally brought out my cheat sheet cards with awesome. With the astrological placements on them because I
love that, and yeah, you could help me to know what the heck it means too.
Like I know some stuff because of the people born in the signs, but I just bought an astrology for beginners book and I took a course recently, but I don't know enough. Like I'm not confident enough to teach on it, but I do have tools with me to help. And that's the other thing, right? Is like we're lifelong learners. So being comfortable with being a beginner is a weird vibe when you're a grown up.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, no, I'm kind of excited about this. This will be awesome. I'm just writing out some stuff now. Thanks for all your help so far.
No worries. Okay. And while y'all are doing that, I am going to shuffle my hilarious deck, which is the Housewives Tarot. It is modeled after 1950s housewifery, but with a lot of stabby knives and stuff. So it's funny. It just showed up in my mailbox about 3 months after I started reading tarot, wrapped in a shopping bag, which means somebody saw me practicing on Instagram Live for free. I was just practicing. And anyone who came on Tuesdays, I would just read for them in a live stream.
Cool.
With the caveat that I was like, so I'm a little bit psychic, but I'm a novice to tarot. and then I was like, so if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Don't worry about it. But then these popped up and I loved it. Like when I first started, I had already been reading for myself privately for a year. I had taken 2 massive courses that I paid a couple $100 to take. And then I charged $5 for a card reading, right? And then last summer when I went to the market, I did it mostly by donation, and I mostly got grandmas, which was adorable, and they called me a soothsayer, which was even cuter. And I made like $600, just me, my card table, and my cards. And then I was like, people need to learn how to read for themselves. Like anyone can read. We all know, we all have a moral compass and a sense of what's right and wrong and what's true and false in us. And having cards or any other tool can help you with that. So I'm just gonna pull a card for you, Kate. I think it's funny. I think this deck is hilarious. And if anyone else wants one, just let me know and I'll totally pull you a cheeky tarot card. They're really, really funny. Okay, cool. And then I'll get one for Ariel, who her toddlers are toddlers, so she's gonna watch the replay. Okay. Oh, nice. You got the Queen of Cups, and on this card,
what does that mean?
I'm gonna have to get. I have to read from the guidebook for this one because the messages are so sarcastic and cheeky.
Did you say really amethyst?
The messages. So this is the Queen of Cups, and I'm gonna put her really close so that you can like see it. She's got like a peacock hairpin thing going on, and she's sitting in an armchair and putting ice in her whiskey, like on a velvet, like whatever. It's really funny. Those are some bougie vibes. Okay, so the card that I pulled for you is definitely like it's okay to indulge and not overthink things sometimes.
Oh but man, that's like exactly what I'm going through right now. As I'm just like being as frugal as possible, but I'm like going mad. So.
Yeah, so indulgence. Speaking from one recovering impoverished person to another who's moved a lot and gone on lots of adventures, indulgence doesn't have to be very expensive. It just has to feel abundant. Huh?
That's a good quote.
Okay, so this one is it says intoxication, emotions, and introspection. Highly emotional and introspective, peak navel gazer, the Queen of Cups usually represents a woman in your life or a feminine aspect of your own personality. For her, the glass is always half full, if not filled to the brim. Her intoxicating qualities leave others feeling a bit tipsy, and her propensity for sentimental musings often leads to the neglect of household responsibilities.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you think that is literally you, and it's like not someone in your life. It sounds like you're resonating with that. It's really funny.
Yeah.
That's cute. I love it. Okay.
Did you say, was it amethyst or what was? Did you say there was a stone attributed to it?
No. I just said okay. She's got like her little crown on there. Whatever.
Yeah.
But I can't. Oh wait, there's probably maybe that's just your intuition. Let's have a look. I've got like
That would be so funny.
This is why tools are amazing, because memorization takes a lifetime.
True.
Queen of Cups, right? Yeah. Okay. That's not the right one. Olivia took it. What a dick. Okay. Oh, amethyst isn't directly attached to anything. So, but I will say that amethyst itself is in this deck. So you carry on doing what you're doing and I will find it.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I think I found out the categories now. So I'm just going to go.
It just popped up right away. Okay. So it represents your third eye chakra, which, you know, is your intuition. Aquarius, Capricorn, Pisces, Virgo. Oh, this is really unhelpful. My life has infinite possibilities. You ask for clarity, and it's like, the world is your oyster.
It can mean anything.
Okay. Amethyst is a powerful protection crystal and aids in developing your intuition and psychic abilities. Okay, so that gives us a little more information, especially alongside of the Queen of Cups. So to me, that would suggest that your theme, at least for the beginning of the year, is worrying less about what's a good path for you and more about what path you want to take.
Yeah, that's actually a really good thought. I'm going to write some of this down.
Like if there is no rules at all, what path would you take? And sometimes we have a really hard time thinking in that framework, which is the other reason I like cards. It's like, help me be free. Thanks. Okay. I am gonna pull one for Charity, who is basically my neighbor compared to the rest of you. There was actually a job that was where you live, working for a publishing company when I first got out of university, right before the pandemic hit. And I was like, how hard would it be for me to live in Nanaimo and work at that publishing company? And then I was like, damn you, BC Ferries. I'd have to be like, I was like, I should just get my own boat. I will get there in like 48 minutes.
Not to Half Moon Bay, California, or south of San Francisco.
48 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. 5 of Pentacles. You got the 5 of Pentacles. This one's really funny. She's like, whoops, breaks a dish, cries her eyes out right when she's about to have a dinner party. Of course. It's also Cancer full moon and peak Mercury retrograde. Mercury is like the most sassy for everyone except me because I was born under it. Right before it's done. It's like when a toddler doesn't want to go to sleep. They're just whatever. Okay. So, crash. That's the sound of the stock market and the stack of dishes you just dropped. The 5 of Pentacles indicates a heavy loss of some kind, whether you're going through it right now or later, I don't know. What you must remember, however, is that in reality, you have lost nothing. Whatever you're losing is just like a thing. It's not part of you. It's not something that's going to be a fixture in your life for your whole life. Like it's just going to feel on the heels of everything else that has happened leading up to the moment that the loss occurs, like a big deal. Okay, gravity and misfortune may have claimed your tableware, but it cannot smash your mojo. This is where this deck is hilarious. Your meatloaf is still unsurpassed. And your pimento gelatin molds are to die for.
Oh, yum.
Collect the broken pieces, whip out the crazy glue, and get started on repairing the damage. Okay, so it's going to feel catastrophic, but it's not. Is blessing the cards important? If you think blessing the cards is important, it is. Okay, so sometimes I cleanse my cards with smoke. Sometimes I put a crystal on them, especially when I'm reading in public and people's energy is like whatever. you know me, Kate. I have always felt other people's energy before I knew that was a thing. I'd walk in a room and I'd be like, oh, I'm not going to talk to anyone or whatever. I'd be like, oh, hey, you look like you're barely holding it together. And then you would burst into tears because I'm a dick. So it's fine. You know me. But yeah, so like if having a specific ritual where you cleanse your cards and you bless your cards or you dedicate them to a purpose and make a relationship with them helps you to connect, do it. Absolutely do it. I've had some decks where it's like, okay, hi, why are you in my life right now? And then I like interview them by pulling cards. I'm like, what is your purpose? Tell me more about yourself. How would you like to be used? Like, seriously. And sometimes I don't feel a connection to it. And then I'm like, okay, maybe I just bought this for the art and I need to give it to someone else. And then I'll give it to someone. Like recently I gifted one in December that was modeled after Practical Magic, the movie. And I loved it, but I didn't have a connection with it. I just loved the art because I love the movie. And then I gave it to this person. They're like, oh my God, thank you so much for that Oracle deck. It is so helpful. And I'm like, I've had it for 2 years. And then I just felt compelled to give it to her. So like honor your feelings.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that makes sense.
If building a ritual is going to help you do it.
During? Like I've already laid down my cards. Like, can I bless them now?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So one thing that I'm learning, so metaphysical just means outside of the physical realm that you can comprehend, which we invented the language of time so that our brains don't melt inside of the human experience. So like hours, minutes, days and stuff, that doesn't exist in science. Just look at a light year. It's just a measurement, right? It's something man made to explain what we feel, see, and experience. Metaphysics is outside of those rules. So if you think in the scientific realm of physics, astrophysics, if you bless something right now because you forgot to do it 10 minutes ago, you blessed it 10 minutes ago. It's fine. That's how inner child work works. You like go back inside into your memories, then you like tell yourself you love yourself, and then you cry like a little sissy. Oh wait, that's just me. Okay. And then you feel better. When we finish this question, may I have a reading? Absolutely. The only reason, full disclosure for y'all who are here live and everyone who watches this later, the only reason I stopped reading live on Instagram was because I'm so sensitive to people and like the information that's coming at me that I would get really, really drained. Like I would sleep almost immediately after. I would get so hot and so whatever. But then some people refused to pay for my services and would only come on Tuesdays for free. And I started to resent it and then was like, no, I need to stop doing this. I'm like, this is going to kill what I love about this. And so now when I'm like going live or whatever, I have my cards with me, but it's not expected.
Yeah.
So I'll just like pull them if I feel like it. Or if someone pops in on my live and I feel like I want to pull cards for them, I'll just pull it and then I'll tell them in like a voice note or something. Just because people get really weird and entitled on the internet. Okay. What does Joey need? Wouldn't it be funny if like 3 cards popped out? Like if they just went.
I'm ready.
Okay, well, 2. Ooh. Okay, so we got the Queen of Wands, which is the what the fuck card. It's just like, excuse me? Who do you think I am? Because I'm not your maid or housekeeper.
Oh my God.
You got 2 feet and a
That's so
heartbeat. Do your own thing. Okay, so that one. And then you got the moon. Look at her just sleeping. Yeah, I love it. Okay, so I'm going to read what it
Cute.
says. Okay, so not only is it the moon, but there's like cold cream counting sheep, those really old yucky mattresses, and then like curlers. So it's like self-care bedtime routine kind of thing. Okay, so let's find our Queen of Wands in this sassy deck. Okay. Creative energy, ego, and passion. So I'll hold it up while I read it. This drama queen radiates creative energy. She positively glows. Her dominating personality sweeps people off their feet, but often leaves others feeling slighted. She is an attentive housewife, but still finds the time and energy to pursue her own interests. In a spread, this Queen of Wands also suggests the needs to travel or devote time to your creative process. So if it's coming up with the moon, which is usually about like, because the moon is nighttime, but it's light. So it's like reflecting and radiating light onto our shadowy places. It could be that you're being called to explore your shadowy places through creativity or in creative ways. So like art therapy instead of talk therapy or whatever, something like that. Let's see what this book says about the moon. The tower, though, okay, so I'm going to show you what the tower looks like so that you all die laughing, and then I'll read the moon card. It's a Barbie doll in a Jell-O mold.
Oh my God.
Disgusting. And the Jell-O mold is like pieces of ham and olives because it's based on the 50s, and they ate really weird food. Were they all on drugs? Maybe. I don't know. Okay. Well, cocaine was in the pop still. So yeah, they were all on drugs. So that's probably why they ate that. The moon, instinct, intuition, and dreams. A nightly ritual of mud masks and curlers and hairnets can provide much more than just peaches and cream skin and perfect curls. While your body gets its beauty rest, your unconscious mind is providing dreams with hints and tips for your waking hours. The moon suggests that listening to your instincts and intuitions can help you through times of change. So it's definitely tied to the creative energy and a bit of sassiness. So like listen to that inner sass spot with like a grain of salt and figure out what maybe she's telling you, like what needs you need to do or whatever. Or maybe you have a sassy friend that is always right, but maybe sucks at delivery. That could also be true. Okay, Kate. What astrological signs came up in your stuff? And then I'm going to pull a card for Ariel for when she watches the replay.
You asked what astrological signs have come up in my deck so far?
Yeah, because you said that it has some stuff, so I wanted to see if I can lend.
Right now,
okay.
I just revealed. So I did that 4-quadrant thing of the seasons.
Yeah.
And I just pulled the first 4 cards. I wasn't sure if I was supposed to right away, but I just pulled them.
Oh yeah, there's no supposed to. I fully anticipate that you'll be doing the most of this off camera, but I wanted to be here to help in the meantime.
So I pulled them out. And I have 4 different astrological signs. The first one that I pulled was in quadrant 1, and it was me as a whole. And it says a win-win outcome is forecast, and it's a full moon in Libra. And I'm actually a Libra, so that's kind of funny.
I'm a Libra moon and rising, which is probably why I understand you so well.
Probably. I know nothing about astrological signs, but it's interesting to me. I'm willing to learn. But it's a full moon in Libra. So like I understand a little bit about my sign being like balanced and good natured, but like really fun and like to express myself aesthetically, which I would agree to be true. But I don't really know what a full moon in Libra looks like. There's other ones have come up. There's a full moon in Sagittarius, a full moon in Scorpio, and a new moon in Cancer as well. But those are in different positions.
I'm going to do a couple of things right now. First thing is I'm just going to go into my other tool and look it up.
Yeah, I'll look it up in my book too.
I have like an incredible app that a friend told me about, and it really, really helps me. So the new moon in Libra, most recent one, the new moon, you said full moon, right?
Yes, full moon.
Okay.
It was yesterday.
The full moon in Libra is that you will feel a strong urge to finish something, to release the old, and to look for a new path forward.
Yeah.
The sign is ruled by Venus and is all about creating balance, harmony, and keeping the peace. Okay, cool. So the moon, though, the moon and Cancer are friends. So this is about coming to terms and balancing your emotions, your desires, your creativity, and like the feminine, masculine energy and or the creative and strategic stuff. So I don't know if you're like most Libras where you like order, because I don't know what your other 2 and your big 3 are. So like, for example, for me, the reason I'm really structured, even as a Leo, is because of the Libra placements. Otherwise, I would be a hot mess. Like if I were literally anything else based on my chart, I would be insufferable.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have like a really cool app. I'll just I know you don't like fully know charts and stuff, but I want to show you what my birth chart looks like. It's terrifying.
Yeah, I like that. I actually watched this show called Astrological Guides Broken Hearts, and they kind of explain that a little bit.
My birth chart looks like, and it's terrifying. So if I didn't
don't understand what that means, but that looks
no, but you could tell when it bounces all over the place like that, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
That's true.
And if it wasn't for having 2 anchors in my big 3, which is like what defines you the most in Libra, no one would ever want to be around me ever. Like it would just be the worst. I'd be super arrogant and super full of myself, but the balancing thing comes out.
Yeah.
Problem is your desire for harmony can often lead to a fear of taking like substantial risks. So any risk that you take, you will have thought through on some level. Like even when you feel impulsive, your subconscious has still done the math. So when something happens that's unexpected or you're unprepared for it, you probably are like, what's going on with my life? I made a mistake. So on here it says that Libra like you already know the values harmony and stuff. But what I want to see is, because it ruled by Venus, Libra's ruled by Venus, that's romantic relationships, love, desire. There's that word desire again. And beauty. Where are you experiencing beauty in your life right now? Because the full moon means things are fully illuminated. So you will have more wisdom in relationships. You will have more wisdom in the things that make you feel beautiful, loved, cared for, those kinds of things. When we look at the moon card, it can also be illusions, deception, fear, confusion. So where are things that like you're confused about when it comes to your experience of love, relationships, beauty, those kinds of things. So so when you think of the sun and how the sun's like love, light, everything is happy and shiny, the moon is kind of like mood light. It's like the emo version of the sun. Like it's like the whole emo thing that I missed a little because I was busy doing dumb things. Everyone else my age had like an emo phase with like the bangs and stuff. And I'm like, I don't know what happened. I was hanging out with people who were 10 years older than me. So that never happened to me. I was building a playlist for my silent disco that I'm hosting in my Facebook group. And is like almost all 70s music. And then the 2000s. Like I just skipped like the whole emo phase. It was fine. So I hope that helps a little bit. What else?
I think it does. Yeah, I've got this book here too to kind of look back on, and maybe like when you do the email or something, you could give us other resources that you have like online.
Absolutely. Are you following
really
the tarot lady on Instagram?
No, I'm not, but I will.
Okay, so she goes live almost every Monday to Friday, and I took one of her courses, but I have learned so much from her. I actually have some of her books. Maybe I only have one, maybe I have 2, but I have some of her books. If you want, I can mail you one. I'd be totally down for that. I got it and I was like, oh, I actually already know this.
Also, I'll talk to you later about it, but I'm actually coming to Vancouver to see Joey, And then there's a potential I might go to Parksville to see my aunt and uncle, and I have to go through Nanaimo. That's where you are, right?
I mean, yeah, you absolutely have to go through Nanaimo.
Yeah. So
I could pick you up at the ferry if you're not driving and drive you
I'm
to
not
Parksville.
driving, so
Yeah,
we
no,
could
that
have
would
like a little catch up. It'd be really brief because it's a
yeah,
it's a brief
but
trip
it
to
would-
Kelowna and Nelson as well.
But it
so
would be
it'd
like,
kinda
if
crazy,
it
but-
happens, it would be like
If,
the
yeah.
48 minutes that it takes for me to pick you up and drive you to Parksville.
Well, that's up to you, but if you did want to connect, we could talk about it after. So
Yeah, no, I'm down for it. I work for
Cool.
myself, so just send me a message or whatever about
Sure.
when
Sounds
it is,
good.
and if I'm around, I'll do it. I'll just be like,
Okay.
Olivia, you
Yeah,
have to
I
walk home from work, sucker. Just kidding.
I'll be able to get there no matter what. Like life always has a way of working out. I found, especially down there. I find that
Well,
people are a lot more
especially now
open.
that our buses actually connect. So
Yes.
weirdos. Yeah, so Teresa wrote a book called it's a tarot book. I can't remember what it's called. It's got a blue cover, the Fool's on the front of it. It is like one of the absolute best resources. I loaned my copy to someone and I can't remember who it is, and now I'll never get it back. So
Oh no.
I'll write that down so I don't forget.
I was thinking before maybe like we move on to the next person if they need help or anything. I thought for my first card I would just read out what it means to the deck specifically, like what the author intended it to be.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna find the page and I'll kind of explain what I think, and then if anyone else needs any sort of attention right now. Okay. All right, I found the page. So in my spread, I'm just gonna open it here. So in my spread, I'll explain each of the quadrants and then I'll kind of go from there. But in my spring spread, the quadrants were like me as a whole. The second one was like income. The third one was home. And the fourth one was travel. So in the first one I have is the win-win outcome is forecast, full moon in Libra. And the author here says that the full moon in Libra is a sign of partnership, of falling in love, and of closely relating to someone else. Since full moons are about climaxes and conclusions, this card suggests you're either about to start a new relationship or that an important existing relationship is changing somehow, perhaps coming to an end or moving to a new level of commitment. It's important to remember that people come to us for a reason, and sometimes just for a season. And if a relationship is ending now, it's doing so at the right time, so try not to fight it. This card can also refer to a professional relationship. There's a sense that you need to balance your ego with someone else's. A win-win outcome is possible with give and take. Doing so might be the answer to your question. So additional meanings and see the other person through the eyes of love. It will change your perspective. It's time for you to make a firm decision. That one I can really agree with. Time for you to focus on yourself for a while. I've been in isolation for like a year and it's been hell. I don't know if I want to do that anymore. Looking after yourself, but avoid vanity. Now is a time for a makeover. Interesting. So I don't understand 100% like what it means. Like, I like this idea of a win-win forecast and like
and it gives you the potential
forever,
like
so.
It's giving you the potential meanings, and then you listen to yourself about which one resonates with you in your situation. And sometimes you might not know until the thing happens. And then you will be like, okay, I don't have to panic. I have this information. I'm just looking. There's one major arcana card. So the major's like not the suits. It's all the other cards that represents Libra, and it's the Justice card. So I'm just looking for it. In my deck, I call it the Mulan card because that's who it reminds me of. Where is it? There it is. Okay, so here's the Justice card. Okay. Right? So it's her outward, inward, the balance. That's why you could see Libra, right? So it's like hopeful, light, dark, moody. It's got a sword, which is like the mighty strong arm of justice. And then the weigh scales, which is, again, balancing and weighing things. And it's really, really cool. One thing that I like about this card, so when it's upright, you can see she's like got her eyes closed and she's thinking about things. And when it's the other way, she's very gorgeous and very moody. Like,
yeah.
deep in her feels. So it's interesting about the relationship. Something that came through to me while you were talking, and then you even sort of said it, is your relationship with self.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it sounds like you're kind of sick of yourself.
Yeah, I've just been so alone forever. Like, I'm in
Yeah.
this town with nobody, and like nobody wants to talk to me or be my friend. Like, it's been so awful.
That's so
Been
weird.
hard. Yeah.
That sucks. It really
does.
sucks.
Yeah.
So that makes us feel all kinds of ways about herself.
Yeah, definitely.
Even the strongest person, the strongest human in the world, if they spend that much time of people isolating and shutting them out, they're going to feel some kind of way. So
yeah, definitely.
I feel like when it's focusing on yourself, it doesn't mean being alone. It means on building yourself up. So if being with people builds you up, go be with people.
Yeah. That's true. It's like I'm kind of keeping myself like from myself. Like I took this forestry job because I thought it was like me proving myself and my worth, but I'm kind of like I just want to leave and do things that make me happy.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It is hard. And leaving potential like security to chase what you don't know is going to work out. It's also hard.
Yeah.
Both things get to be true. And that is like really annoying and wonderful all at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So I absolutely do want to chat more about this with you.
Definitely.
So I would be interested to see the photos.
Yeah, I'll
your
take a photo
spread.
after of everything.
Yeah, finish the spread, take the photos, write out your thoughts and feelings, and then let's figure out a time to chat about it, even if it's just like voice notes.
Hello? Hello? Can anyone hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Oh, great. Something's wrong with my mic. So I had to like take out my headphones and try to see if my computer will be able to speak to you guys. Okay.
We can hear you right now.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No worries.
No worries.
Do you want to go next? Since you're talking?
Okay. So my
unless you don't want to go, then it's fine. No pressure.
No, it's okay. I'm happy to go. So my tarot deck is kind of different because it's one of those like the ones that you said before, like it emulates the Rider-Waite deck, but it has its own like images and stuff. So my deck is it's called The Enchanted Forest by Luna.
Ooh, I've heard of this deck. It's gorgeous.
It's my first tarot deck ever, and I love it. I just really love the images.
It has a lot of details, hey?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, when the images are really detailed, it's a lot more helpful when you're just learning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I kind of followed your like spring, summer, fall, winter, but I kind of made it more like winter, like January, kind of like going into the year, but mostly focusing on the present. Yeah. And then I did like the quadrant. So the first one is like personal. And then because this month I've been doing a lot of trying to figure out what I really want to do. So the second one, it does have to do with career and professional stuff. And then 3, I did kind of like, what can I do to achieve what I have set in mind of what I want to do. So
like aligned action.
Cool. Yeah. And then the 4th one is kind of what do I have to look forward to for at least in January.
Sweet. I'm just going to put a heart because that's too many words. Cool. What did you get? So
for personal, I got the cards called Ace of Visions. So that's Ace of Cups, I think.
Yeah, probably.
Mm-hmm. So you can see a swan looking into its own reflection in the serene water, and you can see how the swan, when it looks at itself, it has a crown, it's got a necklace.
That's really cool.
So I think what I'm going to try to interpret from this is I just need to be in more serene water, be more calm, and do more self-reflection and look at myself because I have a lot to offer. There's a lot of self-worth. And if I just
That's
take a
really cool.
moment to look at myself and reflect, then I can have a better, clearer vision of who I am as a person.
Oh, I love that. I have in my encyclopedia of symbols, I have the swan. Okay. And it says the appearance of a swan, an ethereal, otherworldly creature floating gracefully on the calm waters that resemble the spirit world and the eternal feminine or softness. Packs a powerful symbolic punch, even without any prior knowledge to myths or legends surrounding the bird. Its pure white color, its strength, and its beauty make it a symbol of light, both of the direct sunlight and when it's reflected in the moon. That, to me, suggests that you're 100% right and that you can't get this thing wrong. Because it's your essence, right? So that's really affirming. So like you can't get all up in your, like when you start to get all up in your head about it, it's like, no. There is no wrong. There's only being. It's totally fine. We're good. We're solid. That's cool. And the swan also represents, interestingly enough, August 6th to September 2nd. So I don't know if that time of year has any significance to you, or maybe it will.
Maybe. Who knows, right?
Who knows, right? So that's just interesting.
Mm-hmm.
What was your next one?
So the next one, which has to do with professional and career, this is from the Major Arcana.
Okay.
It's called the White Heart.
Ooh.
It's the 0 card. So like the first.
Oh, the Fool. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the beginning of a journey.
Yeah. So I think looking at this, it's, like this stag that's in a forest. It's white, it's mystical, but it's also kind of enticing you to come on in. So I'm thinking I'm going to have a look at this book quickly, the guidebook.
Yeah, I'm going to find the Fool from my favorite deck so you can see the image. Usually the Fool or the 0 card has to do with a divine beginning of some kind. Going in a new direction, but in the way that someone who's never been there and has never seen any of it is experiencing it. So like it usually has the word naive associated to it, but not in a bad way, just in like an open-minded, open-hearted, ready for adventure, hopeful kind of way. Oh, I can't find it.
Yeah, so
there's the Fool in this deck.
Nice.
So you got like the divine geometry and just like a trust fall. And she's holding an amethyst. Interesting. That's funny. That's the second time that came up. And a staff, which is like knowledge and creativity and those kinds of things. Yeah. Do you have a job opportunity, or are you looking for one? Are you studenting? Well, what's going on with you?
So I'm a consulting arborist. I work with trees.
Cool. And then you have a deck that has like a stag in the forest. That's funny.
Yeah, I love nature, right? So I've been doing like a lot of self-reflecting and thinking about what I really want to do. And this will be news to you, Kate, but I'm just going to try to keep it brief because I want to honor everyone's time here. I've been thinking a lot about my company that I currently work for. It's an environmental firm. And they have been really great to me, to be honest. And I told them, because they allowed me to say like what I like to do, what I don't want to do, and what are kind of projects that I want to work more on. And I told them I want to do more jobs, basically that gives me purpose. So let me do the things I want to do. Otherwise, I'm not going to be happy. And they're like, okay,
good for you.
We'll develop you in the way you want to. So that's why I feel more confident with doing or asking for what I want. So I feel like this is a big journey for me because I felt for so long that I've been trying to mold myself the way I think companies want me to be. But I'm kind of tired of doing that. I don't know about you. I want to do things I want to do, but still benefit the company I work for.
So interesting little tidbit. I won't read the whole thing, but I remember looking up the number 0 when I first got this. And I just want to read like 2 short paragraphs about the number 0. It's hard to know where to put 0. Should it go at the beginning or the end of a section? A magical circle, indeed. It encompasses everything in terms of thinking about the earth, the universe, whatever, and yet stands for nothing. The invention or discovery of 0 has profound implications for our development. It was the last number to be recognized as a number. Conceptually, 0 is the symbol that stands for no thing. So there's like the absence of. In Buddhism and Taoism, it represents the void, which existed before creation. In India, the word or concept for 0 was the sunya, in the Sanskrit word for void or vacuum. In Islamic belief, 0 represents divinity. And Pythagoras said that the 0 indicated a perfect form. If a 0 is placed after a number, it increases. And if it's placed before a number, it decreases. So 0 is like a really powerful card. It's possibilities in either direction, which is kind of really cool. And it sounds like you're in the position where you're like, okay, one way or the other, this is going to be an adventure and I'm going to have agency in it. And to learn that before you're 55 makes you ahead of the game, to be honest. Good job.
Thanks.
I also look like I'm 23 and I'm definitely not. So
oh my God, me too.
So what was your let's just move through it. What was your aligned action card, your number 3 card?
Another major arcana.
Ooh.
Strength.
Okay, yeah. So high. Which arm is it? This arm in the camera? I can't really, but it's like I literally got the Disney version of that card tattooed on my arm.
Oh my gosh.
It's like a lion and Merida.
Wow, that is so cool.
Because right? Like the strength card, it's one of my favorites. And that one's a wolf. Which
so
a wolf could kick a lion's ass, let's be honest.
Yeah. So my interpretation is, like I'm kind of like this woman here, like she's kind of feeling comfortable with the wolf. And maybe the wolf for me for the long time was work, because I always felt like I was fighting against it. But it's time to cooperate. It's time to communicate and talk, and there will be serenity when I am open to having the courage to face the wolf. And I love how she's like wearing like a work boot too. So she's like super like, I'm
that's a beautiful interpretation.
Trying to get what I want, but also benefiting the forest in general. So that's how I see it.
Okay, cool. So does that version of the strength card have the infinity symbol anywhere on it? Because sometimes they do and sometimes they don't.
Yeah, I know like the original deck does have the infinity symbol, but this one does not.
Interesting. I was just curious. It has nothing to do with anything. Okay, so this is the strength card in my Fox Tarot deck. So it's got like sunflowers, the lion, the crown in her hair, like just really embracing the naturalness of it all. It also represents like Leo, like creative energy, passion. Leos, if I could read myself again for a second, they feel everything big. They feel love big, they feel anger big, they feel sorrow big, they feel creativity big. And there is no one who can be ambivalent except for maybe a Capricorn the way that a Leo can. They're just kind of like. So you are going to have some passionate times and things that you're excited about. And I recommend following those. And then what was your very last card?
Yeah, so I guess what I can look forward to for at least the month of January is, so it's the 4 of spells. So that's 4 of wands, I think.
Yeah, probably wands because it's light instead of fire. Oh, that's cool. I like the 4 of wands is a really nice card. It does. I will say though that in the tarot journey, the 4 of wands comes before the 5 of wands, which is like competition and indecisiveness. So just be aware of that.
Okay.
Whoops. There's some random music.
Yeah. Well, I think this card, it looks like these elves here are like celebrating something, coming together to enjoy what's to come and what's in the present as well. And they're kind of just enjoying.
Yeah,
Enjoying
yeah,
the time.
enjoyment is it. So like the Four of Wands in the Light Zero Tarot deck is two best friends dancing outside of where the party's happening because they're just doing their own thing and really enjoying themselves and celebrating and being present and in the moment and not, who cares that we're late to the party? We just saw
That's
each
you
other.
and me, Joey.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, so that's a really solid, beautiful interpretation, and that is a gorgeous deck. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Thanks for listening.
All right, Charity. Thank you for going last by accident.
No worries. I have an Oracle deck, so I did the last one that you shared.
Oh, cool. Yay. I was hoping someone would do that one.
Yeah, and it's cool. I've had this deck for a while. I really love it. But I've always just like savored and like, I'll just pull one card. That's all I need. And so this is really indulgent to do 9 cards. So I've kind of gone through them. I did 3 on each. I did the personal, professional, and then spiritual, emotional.
Okay.
A lot of it aligned and made sense. I don't know if you're familiar with this deck or not, but it's like different goddesses, mystics, poets, like things. Are you familiar with the deck?
A little.
A little. Okay.
I don't have it, but I know I've had other people read to me from it.
Oh,
but that's also why I have this amazing, gorgeous book. It has like everything in it. It's my favorite. Okay.
Okay, cool. So I'm not sure what all to share.
Do you have anything that was like kind of like an aha moment for you? Is there anything that you would like some clarity about? Like I'd be fine pulling cards from any deck here to support what you've already got if that would feel good to you.
Maybe like the couple cards that resonated with me the most, like in personal, was like
and it's like, okay, I just want to give you full permission that you don't have to share.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so kind of had like a little, I don't know, maybe it was the crash card, but a little crash with my boyfriend last night. And so I was kind of wondering what that card was going to bring. And it wasn't as clear as I thought, but it was an unconditional love card.
Okay.
Which is, let's see, where's the camera? This one?
Yeah, so in the context of that random card that wasn't random that I pulled for you, that has that crazy glue putting the things back together at the bottom, sometimes those big crashes are just like release. And once we have it, we don't need to like have that same challenge or same fight or same pressure or same whatever.
And it was really an unraveling of me, not him. And I, came out sideways, and it's been a lot of like processing for myself, and like I feel bad that I kind of put it on him and made him feel bad, and so it's just been a heavy day that way. So that heavy card makes sense. I'm like, I hope that doesn't mean it's like crash and boom, it's over. I feel
no, it seemed like it turned around at the end. Like, ego wounds hurt sometimes more than anything else. Like when we feel raw and vulnerable and foolish, it hurts sometimes more than any other thing. Can I see that card again for a sec? It's reminding me of one that's in here, and I just want to... Okay, yeah, perfect. Okay, yeah, so I'm just going to find the card. So that one's sort of...
The Queen of Saintly Women. I am in service of divine love. I move the way love asks me to move, is what the card says.
There's like, yeah, you can keep going. I'm just going to find the one. There's a couple here that look like it. So, for example, this is what my lover's card looks like. And the color of the card is almost.
Oh, yeah, it's very similar.
So, like, that was one side that I was thinking of. But where are you? It's like when you've had a deck for so long. Okay, so 2 cards specifically come to mind in relationship to that. So this is the Knight of Wands. Very passionate, very fiery. There's even like a stallion or a steed or a knight, depending on how you want to interpret that in the background. That's just off center, but she's just going through some stuff. She's celebrating, but she's also just like releasing some things, right? This card usually is the one, this one, and then the Page of Wands are the ones that like I feel resemble powerful women, whether it's emotions, whether it's creativity, whether it's whatever it is. Like I feel like when you're in that phase of something's being birthed or something's being purged or something's being released, that's usually what I see. But also this one came to mind. And you can see the colors are very similar. It's the 2 of Pentacles, the balance of the internal and the external, the material, the immaterial, the spiritual, and the tangible. So those things bleed, and they bleed the most with the people that we love. And it sucks because they also get the most offended and hurt.
Yeah.
Because then when it's like a man, TM, gender relevant, but a man, they can't fix it, and then it becomes like this whole weird thing. And I just want to validate your feelings. It's like,
oh, thank you.
Who I am as a person.
The fun one, the most fun card that I got though was in the spiritual emotional. My question or my whatever I wrote down was for growth.
Okay.
And I got Isis, the goddess of magic, and its sexual energy is sacred. It's about bringing pleasure and sexuality, sexual empowerment. I'm like, okay, that's a good sign. And they said, it doesn't have to even be in a relationship or a partner. It's just about, so that's an area of growth for me, which I'm excited about.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Where is it? Ugh. Why can't I just have like a Rolodex? This would be so great. Okay. This deck is like my go-to. I love it, but then I can't find the card that I'm looking for when I'm looking for it.
Oh.
This one. Okay, so the Empress in this deck, creative energy, lunar, whatever. She's got like angel wings, but she's also got like the center of the earth in her sacral section, which is the sensuality and birth. But specifically the Ace of Cups and the 2 of Cups in this deck, right? They just called to me when you were speaking. So this is, I love it.
I love it. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad that I followed the prompting when I was like in my pajamas drinking coffee 2 days ago. And I was like, I'm just gonna teach a tarot course on the internet and see what happens. I feel like the exact right people who needed to be here are here, which is really cool. This one popped up too. It's the Strength card in this deck, and she is the Lion. And I feel like in the context of everything that we've covered tonight, that this is like really applicable to all of us. Because in this one specifically, she's also got the Lamb. So it's meekness does not cancel out strength. And beauty does not cancel out fierceness. All of those things can coexist together. And it's really, really cool and really, really profound. So I probably won't get this edited and emailed until later in the week. If you have any questions at all, you can find me at the Cheryl Folland on Instagram. That's the quickest way to communicate with me. I would love to see photos of your spreads if you feel safe to do so. I don't want to encroach on anyone's personal spiritual journey, but I'm always down for it. And yeah, I'm thinking about adding something like this quarterly, where folks can just come and we can explore like a specific type of spread or a specific area of symbology or something like that. But I'm not sure what it'll look like yet. I just feel like learning and exploring and trusting and collaborating as we do that is really, really important. And it's something that's missing right now. There's a lot of noise on the internet and not a lot of community. And it's really important to me to make sure that those things happen. So I'm doing it in my tiny little corner. And if we all do it in our tiny little corners, we'll be able to diffuse some of the stuff that's happening in the world right now. So thank you so much for being here. Do you have any questions for me before I head off and have some supper?
Nope. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Cheryl. This was fun.
Saturday night.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I love you all, whether you know me or not. I'm sending you my love. Bye for now.